Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. On the hot seat, we have Cleavon Leonard, who we spoke to last week. A quick recap about Cleavon's journey. We spoke about where he came from, his brilliant, eclectic design in America. He has a boutique in Soho, for those of you in New York who haven't been there. When COVID restrictions lift up, he will be back with the bang there. So definitely go and check out his boutique in Soho. We also talked about the incredible, passionate work he's doing in Africa. We will come back to that in a couple minutes. We touched about sustainability, which is a very important topic, not just in fashion, in life, period, across the world today. Cleavon's been on the road in Dhaka and trying to change the way we look at fashion, trying to change the way we look at recycling within fashion industry. Cleavon, thank you for staying with us. Would love to dive back into learning more about your journey. Is that okay with you?
That's great. That's
Lovely.
great.
Thank you. So let's share with your viewers again some of the working conditions in Bangladesh when you went to Dhaka. There are millions of articles written about poor working conditions for women, for child labor, and these garment manufacturers particularly. Have you noticed anything, and what did you do particularly to put an end to that and make sure that your fashion does not have the blood and sweat of underage kids and women not getting the right treatment in these factories?
Well, what started my journey, what led me to Dhaka, Bangladesh, was my studies in employee relations. And so in employee relations, one of our case studies was about the 12 women who got burned inside the factory in Dhaka.
Wow.
And they had been locked inside. The supervisor locked them inside with a chain, and they burned, and a lot of the women jumped to their deaths. And so that was really provoking. I was like, this can't be real, not in the 20th century. Like this is not possible, but it really was. And so, I talked to a friend. I had a good friend in Bangkok that I had connected with who was from Bangladesh. And so I ended up traveling there and really from the idea more so about school, about trying to learn, about trying to understand the culture. It's easy to write about something you go and you see firsthand, and you can write more descriptive about it. And I went there and I was able to see a lot of the things that were taking place. And, in our break, I was talking to you about that in Dhaka, old Dhaka in particular, which is the hub of where all these manufacturers like Dhaka. Many people don't know that Dhaka is one of the main places that manufactures fabric from all over the world.
Correct.
And so they utilize it. So that's why you find so many of the dyes and the colors because of all the different fabrics that are manufactured. But in old Dhaka, you can take a boat across. They take a little Rika boat and they travel from old Dhaka. It's almost like an island. And this bank of this river, it is horrible with fabrics and dyes. And it's sad. And you find little children, a lot of children are not educated because of the economic conditions. They are sent to work. And so you find children as young as 7, 8, 9 who are sent to work rather than be educated. The other thing is, unlike, there are several government schools, but not necessarily in all the areas.
Correct.
And so you find women who have to take care of their children, or whether their husband has abandoned them, whether they just can't make ends, the husband doesn't make enough to make ends meet, where they have been subject to having to go and work inside these fabrics. And it's horrible conditions. They literally take a boat over to the other side, and it's like these humongous factories. I'm talking about Nike. I'm talking about Dolce & Gabbana. I'm talking about San John. I'm talking about big designers where there is, you can't even say poverty pay, because the average Bangladesh makes, they make less than $200 a month.
Correct.
And so it is the conditions, and that's to take care of a whole family. That's eating, that's sleeping, that's transportation, that's everything encompassed in one. Not for one individual, but for that whole family, that $200. And so the conditions are horrible. And so you see a lot of it because it is so economical to go there and say, okay, we're going to do 40,000 garments, and they are learned. It's an apprenticeship. They go there, they learn not how to make the whole garment, because then you become valuable. You learn how to just sew the arms on, and they don't want to teach you anything more. So they can't take that skill and go and start a small business on their own, because all they know is how to attach the arms. And so they're not given the opportunity to learn how to see how to learn pattern cutting. They don't have the opportunity to learn that. There are some older families who come in, and it's perpetuated poverty.
Of course.
And so it's really sad. But you see large corporations taking advantage of the economic conditions there. And so it's really sad to see. Once you see kids begging, I mean, there are people begging, all over. Being from New York, you see people begging all over the streets. But when you see this level of poverty that you see in Lower Bangladesh, in India, in Mumbai, it will grip your heart when you see children pulling out of piles of garbage, of raw food, and looking for things to eat because they've been subject. This is what you live around, so this is all you have.
Right.
And so you have to go with open mind that you're not going to be a part of the problem, but a part of the solution.
Great.
And so being a part of that, how the structure of the government, it is very difficult, the rights that we have, that we can go and we can just, we can protest and we can demand rights. They don't have the same type of labor laws that are in place that we have the opportunity to experience here in America. They are very lax labor laws. There's not a proper application of labor laws for children. There's not a demand. There's nobody going by and saying, there's no truant officer.
Everybody just looks the other way.
Right. Everybody looks away. Yeah. There's no truant officer saying, hey, why isn't this kid at school? This kid should be at school at this time of day. Or, who's educating? We don't have that. They don't have that there.
With your viewers, we wonder is, you as a designer, as someone handing a contract to a garment manufacturer, have you had a chance to have a difficult dialogue with these suppliers, with these manufacturers, and say, we think your employees deserve a better working condition? Is that a feasible thing to think about? So we educate the rest of the design community as well, and how to think about creative solutions and having this dialogue with these manufacturers.
I think for the first time, I had an understanding of how speaking truth to power. It's easy to say and it's harder to do in terms of making an impact. Correct. Going to a local Bangladesh owner who owns a factory. I myself started my own factory because I can't perpetuate a problem, because if you own it, I can't control it. Correct. I can tell you, hey, I'm not going to do business with you. And then I can go to the next factory and they tell me it's not there. And you go to the next factory and it's the same thing there. Right. So when we want to create change, it has to begin with us. Right. So what I did is I started my own. I went out and bought my own machines. I went out and I located and I began to set up an apprenticeship for my own workers. And these are things that you have to do yourself. Now, I'm small. I'm a small business owner. I only have 6 people working for me, but they are paid. I have 6 people working for me, but they're not all living and working in the same environment. And so it begins with you, and we have to make a determination. I believe this. I believe that if we do the right thing, that money will follow. But I think when you chase money, then only thing follows bad character. Only thing follows disaster, because if your focus is only money, you'll overlook things like everybody else is doing. Everybody's trying to get ahead, and they overlook things that stop us from being human and having character. And so one of the pillars of my organization is character. It's about truth. So character is a part of not just something I personally live. It's one of the 4 pillars of my company. So I can't go and perpetuate and be a part of a problem that I say that I'm against.
That's beautiful.
And so, and it's a lot. And you learn it, I'm not much. I'm 1 against 50,000, but change begins with 1 person. And so as I begin to teach and educate, then they begin to, when people see that there's an opportunity to do something different, people begin to make different choices. Correct. But if they don't see an opportunity to make a different choice, they'll make the same bad choice that's been made in the past.
And thank you for showcasing that case study as well. That's a brilliant example. It's a brilliant takeaway for all of us in the world, period, whether it's the fashion industry or outside. Change begins at home, and that's what Cleavon showcased to us today. He made sure that the people he's hiring as apprentices back in Bangladesh potentially are paid the right way, and that change he brought into his own fashion house. That's what I think the industry should aspire to. That's what we all should aspire to. Thank you for sharing that story with us. Let's continue back again to Africa for a quick minute or two. We know you've involved yourself at grassroots levels there as well. So what is your biggest contribution to the schooling industry there, up-and-coming designers? What is the biggest contribution that you made there?
I think for me, the biggest contribution is education.
Okay.
Educating them in what is possible. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you go, all you see is your local world, and you can't see outside that world and know that there's a bigger opportunity, there's a bigger world. I think the most rewarding for me is being able to take somebody. My first trip, I took them to Botswana, which is a neighboring country, but just them helping them raising money to help them get their passport. Them crossing that border was like the greatest thing for them. I'm like, it's only 6 hours away, but being able to go to another country, being able to experience another culture, seeing their self and seeing their designs on the runway is, there's not a price tag you can put on that. Them, the appreciation for thank you for being kind enough and being unselfish to give us an opportunity. And I keep saying it's not about me, it's about us. So you're gonna have to do this for somebody else. The same way I'm opening up the door for you, you're gonna have to open the door for the young designer that's coming behind you.
Yep.
And we can change and we can set up a legacy of change. And we can change the way things are handled in fashion. One of the other things is in South Africa, they are not paid. It's really bad pay for models. And so those are the things that we're working on there.
That's great, and thank you for showcasing this story as well. A lot of us in America, we live in this brilliant bubble, and we forget Africa is a vast continent. There are borders that people need legit travel documents, and I love how your story entails not just showcasing what design world is, but starting from the beginning for them, helping them acquire these documents, helping them travel across the border, understanding that it's life beyond Botswana. I think there's a brilliant takeaway right there. I personally came from India, so for people like us who are watching in different parts of the world, you're creating a legacy of change that influences the next generation and the generation after if we continue to pay it forward. And that, I think, is the brilliance right there. Thank you for sharing that story with us. We're going to come right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay right here. We have more things to learn from Cleavon. We're going to look at his styles and learn about his business plans for Africa and Europe and the rest of the world.
Hey, I'm still excited talking about my Live collection. Listen, it's all about life. And so in this collection, I'm going to be bringing on the models once again, and we're going to be showcasing some of the maxis that are going to be worn. I'm really excited about this. We're going to first have Nadia, and she's coming wearing a floor-length maxi with the buttons down the front, with the tapered sleeves, and with a big belt with the bow on the side. This is a very comfortable dress. We wanted something that was easy and comfortable that can be worn out and, to a gala event or just chilling, where they can feel comfortable and still feel sexy and full of colors. I like this because it's so full of colors. I think it's feminine. I think it's sexy. And Nadia wears it very well. Thank you so much, Nadia. In the spring collection, we're really just talking about how, women can be inspired. I wanted them to feel comfortable, how they can feel sexy. And so this maxi collection, even in the spring and summer collection, women they know how to just dazzle us, with these long gowns. And so next we have Delilah. And Delilah is coming with this sleeveless maxi here, with the slit on both sides, showcasing, we want to show off those legs, in the spring and summertime. And so she wears it well. I wanted something comfortable, something, where there was no sleeves, something that can be worn, can be a shawl if it get cold in the evening, something that can be worn on the boat, for those cruise getaways, during the summer and spring months. And so Delilah is wearing it very well, very colorful, very sexy, very open. And this is a part of the ready-wear collection that we'll be showcasing even in Nairobi later on this month.
Good evening. Welcome back. It's my privilege and honor to have this conversation with Cleavon Leonard. You're here with us in Demoshell Entertainment and Fashions. Cleavon just showcased his Spring 2021 collection. Let's understand what his emotional process, his creative journey was like to showcase this collection. Cleavon, what would you like to tell your fans?
Well, this collection for me, I don't know about many of you, after being locked down, I was in South Africa and we were on lockdown. I mean, for 60 days, I didn't see anyone. We were not allowed to go outside. Even in my apartment complex, it was like ghost town. And so after then, it was in that area that I was reading and, you're praying, you're meditating, you're finding different things to do. And I began to write and I began to sketch and I began to think about life, because it's in times like this, when there's so much death, you have to think about the opposite of life. And so when I thought about this collection, I thought about colors. It made me think about my mother, my daughters, my sister, my sons, my brothers. It kind of makes you think about family. And I thought about things, food that we love to eat and, color. So the green, which is symbolic for life, and to me, it was about we survived, we lived through it. You know what I'm saying? And so the green was symbolic. I wanted something that was going to be symbolic for life. The white was about the purity of life, you know, and the value of it. The orange was it was about being warm and being inviting. And to me, I think it changed my whole aspect about how we look at people. I wanted to be a person who was inviting, that was full of life. I wanted to be someone who had pure motives. And so I wanted that to be exemplified in my collection. I wanted people to be comfortable. I wanted them to be edgy. I wanted them to be fashionable. And so all of that encompassed, you know, the designs that I came up with for this particular collection.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I particularly love this. I think it's sexy, it's bold, it's eclectic, it's out there to make an impression. And they're very earthy colors. We in India as well use a lot of bold colors, and I love seeing that in your fashions. Thank you. I have a quick question about your journey in Africa. What does that mean for your business? How has it helped Cleavon Fashion, the house of Cleavon Fashion, get bigger and stronger, if you will?
Well, you know, it really opened doors. Going through Johannesburg and then to Accra, Ghana, has opened doors.
Plus, you won that award in Ghana.
Yes, I did. Yeah. I won. And I was quite shocked. I had just showcased in Ghana and at Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week there. And then they said, you know, come back out. And I was like, for what? You know, I'm trying to pack up, you know. I got my crew, we're packing up, and I got called to the stage, and I'm like, what is the stage? And they were saying, because I knew that I had been nominated, but, you know, I don't really get into that. I'll just kind of stay in my lane, do what I do, and go ahead on. So when they called my name, I was just like, huh? They was like, Cleavon, you won, you know, Male Fashion Designer of the Year. And so it was exciting, and it was just great to be appreciated for what you do, and that somebody else see value in it. And not just a monetary value, but people saw value in my creative process, and I was so appreciative of that. So the brand has begun to expand, not just Johannesburg, and now in Accra, and now we're moving into Botswana and Kenya. And so I'm excited. I'm excited about the doors that are being opened. I showcased in Algeria, and then I've already begun to do my bags in Morocco. When I began, I started doing my bags in Morocco. I started an accessory line of wallets and business cards, and so that's been an extension in women purses. And so there's been an extension in, you know, my product line, and so I'm excited about that. And in it, believe it or not, it began in Africa as well. And so it's just Africa, you know, has really, it's been good to me. It's been good to my business.
Cleavon, so if we want to buy your fashions that you're generating out of Africa, where would your fans go to buy these designs?
Well, if you are in Johannesburg, you know, you can come to off Dover Street in Ferndale, and you can certainly pick us up there. Everybody knows it's on the corner there. And if you're in Accra, we are with Nalalamle, and it's a boutique there in Accra, and you can pick us up there. And so what we're doing in Kenya, I'll be launching, there is also an online service that I'm a part of, an online marketplace that they've launched back in November of 2020 that I'm a part of. And so you can always go on my website, www.cleavonleonard.com. You can pick us up on Instagram. We do bespoken clothing as well. We have expanded into the bridal market, and so so whatever your needs are, we got you.
Exciting. So if you can't find it in store, you can definitely find it online at cleavonleonardfashion.com.
That's right.
Cleavonleonard.com.
Cleavonleonard.com.
Apologies. So Cleavon, let's talk to your fans more about what you're doing in Europe and the rest of the world. What is the world looking for next?
Well, I'm excited to be, I will be in Italy in October. There's gonna be, after we leave New York in September, I will be doing New York Fashion Week. I'm going to Italy in October. And I'm going there because I'm in collaboration with some other brands that are there that we are going to be launching. And we're going to be doing some pop-up shops and just giving exposure to the brand and just expanding there. We're already in Purple Door in London, and so I'm already there. And so I'm just, you know, slowly creeping in, trying to expose the brand as we go. We've been going by way of boutiques, has been very fashionable for me. It's been effective for me. It keeps my clientele, gives me an opportunity to style and do consultation on fashion and education as well. So that's great.
Well, if you want to follow Cleavon, he is on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and on Facebook. So make sure you follow Cleavon and see what his trends are up to. And he will be back in fall for New York Fashion Week as well.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Talk to us about your Fashion Week styles. Do you have that outlined? Is that a secret yet?
That's a secret, but it's going to be some wonderful surprises. It's really going to be a production. I'm going to be doing an independent show, and it's really going to be a production. I plan on creating 120 pieces for this collection. It's really going to be outstanding. It's going to be bags for men as well as women. It's going to be swimwear, something I've just recently launched. I launched my swimwear collection in Ghana, and so it was my first time doing swimwear. So it was exciting, it was sexy, I did men and women. And so it was something I had never really, I'm not gonna do that, you know. But my daughters was like, Dad, you gotta get into swimwear. I was like, no, I don't wanna do it. And, you know, I'm glad I did. I think it was a really great choice. And especially being in Africa, the place I am is warm most of the time. So people are always looking to be sexy and going out. And there's a lot of outdoor, you know, parties and gigs and things going on. And so, you know, it's been really exciting. So it's gonna be a really great production, and I'm excited about that. You'll be there. You'll be a part of it. I'm
excited about that as well. You know, going back to Africa, one quick question. Nollywood's the hottest it's ever been. Any plans in Nigeria?
I am actually, the end of April, I'll be doing Nigeria Men's Fashion Week. And so, you know, I've been branching off, you know, into there. I went to Nigeria my first time on last year, and it was exciting. It was a different market, and it's a lot of creativity there. I just love it. And Lagos is so packed, and it kind of reminds you of between Dhaka, Mumbai,
I was going to say it's in Mumbai.
Yeah, but it's really exciting. So, yeah, I'm looking to branch off into that market. I have a lot of connections there. People who I've collaborated with. We've done shows together from Seychelles, you know, in Africa to all over, and we've collaborated, and, you know, I have a lot of friends there, so we're excited, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. There's a different collection. It's going to be a strictly men's collection that I'm creating, that I'll be showcasing the end of April, so I'm really busy. I just finished the spring collection. Now I'm just all men's collection, so as always, you have to keep the creative juices flowing.
Such exciting times, Cleavon. So we heard about your fashion, we heard about your creative journey. What about Cleavon the person? We also know he's an activist. You're very actively involved in your community, no matter which part of the world you're in. But talk to us about Cleavon the person at home. Do you miss being home? Where is home base really for you?
I really miss home. I'm going through emptiness syndrome. My youngest son is in his last year at the University of Utah, and so one of my daughters, Kelsey, she's model. She's traveled all over the world. She's a nurse. My middle daughter is an educator. My oldest son is a creative. He works for Colgate, and he does IT for them. He's a creative director. He's assistant creative director for Colgate in New York, and he's married, so that's emptiness. And then both of my daughters who schooled in Canada, now both of them are in Houston, Texas now. And so, you know, my youngest son is in Utah. So I'm going through emptiness syndrome. And so I'm
happy to travel.
Yeah, I have this freedom. So I ain't got to go home. I don't have to feed the dog. I don't have, you know, I can just go and be gone. And it's really exciting. My family is very supportive. You know, I started this because of them. And for my very first show, my daughter modeled, my other daughter did makeup, my son handled all the, designed the posters and did photography. So it's been a family business from the day one. And so I very much still have their support, and they just keep pushing me to go and give it my all. So I'm excited for what's
so great.
next.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Well, you heard it here. Cleavon the person, Cleavon the fashion designer, Cleavon the community activist, Cleavon the influencer in Africa and everywhere else and beyond. We're so lucky and privileged to have you on set with us. Cleavon, thank you for sharing your journey with us. We're so honored and privileged to have you on set with us. Before we close out for the evening, I'd love to have our lovely creative producer, Donna from D. Michelle Entertainment and Fashion with us.
Hello, hello. Oh my God, did y'all have a wonderful time today? Oh my goodness, I am so honored for this man, this young man, Leonard Cleavon Leonard. This is my brother here. He's been with me for, 5, 6 years? When I started with D. Michelle Fashion Magazine, he was on my cover. He showed some beautiful, fabulous suits. Been to his New York Fashion Week shows, front row seats. When he opened in Soho, D. Michelle was there. He's been my good friend and brother, and I'm so happy that he's here on my show. I'm so honored and I'm so proud of him. It brought tears to my eyes. But I know he's going in bigger places, and I'm going to be following him still. Okay, and you're going to see more of Cleavon. You're going to see more of him. I am so honored to have this young host of mine. Sonny is the best.
Thank you.
Didn't y'all enjoy this? This was a fabulous show. You got to come back every Friday at 8 p.m. I am Dee Moshelle of Donna Michelle Franklin. We are a wonderful group that will be showing you great fashion, information, entertainment. Be here again. Come back. Dee Moshelle Entertainment and Fashion.